Now, value stream mapping has got 3 words. We spoke about the 3 components in this. What are those 3 components that we saw? How many of you remember? You can divide this map into 3 divisions. You can imagine like an Indian flag. Okay, tricolor flag. And what is the top one? What is the middle one? What is the bottom one? Let's see who all quickly remembers this. I'll give you 60 seconds for typing this. Top one is, what is top one? Information flow, material flow or process flow, material/process flow, you can call it. Material/process flow and the timeline. Great if it is. So I want all of you to be clear and not scared about this map, because certain things, first sight of the map will be intimidating, too much of stuff like this. Now, let us understand how many words are there in value stream map. 3 words. So the first word is value. The second word is stream. The third word is map. Maybe the way that I'm teaching you might look like an LKG stuff, but I'll ask you one question. Unless we know what is value, because the definition of value itself is something most of the people will miss out. That's on the first word. Many people, even today, they do not know exactly the definition of a value. What is value? What is the definition of a map? What is the objective of putting it in the form of a map? What is a map, first of all? A path to follow, a visual guide. So here it is, time taken is not decided by the lowest processor. So it is like, so gives you direction, helps you reach the destination. All of you take notes from this, okay? It's so valuable, whatever direction, guidance. Okay, great. So let me share my view of first statement. I want to share 2 statements, okay? Information is for decision making. We need information for decision making. Suppose the correct and complete information will help you create the timely decision, the correct and timely decisions. If you have correct and complete information, okay, then you can make the correct decision, accurate decisions, and timely decisions. So we made 2 statements. Information is for decision making, and if you have correct and complete information, you can make decisions faster and accurately. Now, the best way of representing this information is, for example, you can have a verbal communication while giving information. You have a written communication while giving information. You have a visual communication while giving an information. Which is best method? Verbal or written or visual? Which is the best method of communication? Visual method is much better than the earlier ones, right? We all agree to that. We call it as a talking factory, right? So we have to make our factory as visual as possible. Okay, as visual as possible. So value stream mapping. There are different levels of maps now. Now, having said this, I'm going to talk about map first. So map is a visual representation that gives an information for us to take decisions. A map is a visual representation of information for us to take certain decisions. For example, Google Map is a visual representation for us to take a decision on which route we have to take. Whether the process is correct or not is not probably the Muda hunting may not be. Finding Muda is a little close. Eliminate non-value adding activity is another thing. Identify waste and improve customer satisfaction. Excellent. That's closer. The object, let's say like this, the objective of this map is to identify where we are so that it can indicate to us where are the opportunities for improvement. Is it clear? It is like taking a helicopter view of a city when there is a flood and finding out the places where we can quickly do the relief operations. Taking a helicopter view of a city or a town and to identify quickly where we can start the relief operations. Similarly, this is a helicopter view of the entire series of the value stream, the entire value stream, high leverage value stream. I'm using the word high leverage value stream. I'll talk about it. And identifying those points where we can start the improvement projects, not the relief operation. Yeah, that's also a sort of relief operations. I'm saying this because many of them ask, what is the difference between value stream map? Nobody has written, I don't know, some of you have written process flow charts also. Nobody has written SIPOC, SIPOC. Okay, I know you all know the SIPOC also. That's also a sort of a map. There are tree diagrams, organizational diagrams. So people ask me, Murali, what map should I do? I have a process flow chart. Can I not use process flow chart to improve my process? Can I not use SIPOC to improve my process? Right? Can I not use process flow activity diagram to improve my process? Or can I do the time and motion study to improve this process? The answer to that is two things is statements I always make. Yesterday I made that. What to improve is more important than how to improve. What to improve is more important than how to improve. So value stream mapping helps in that statement of what to improve. So that when you are in the helicopter view of a city which is flooded, first, the decision that we want to take is what to improve. Once you decide and land on that place to start the relief operation, how to start the relief operation, how to do the improvement project is the next step. And there, further, you can dive deep and do activity maps. Further, you can dive deep and do time and motion studies or most studies, MOST studies. I don't know how many of you heard about that. Okay, minor operating system techniques. And you can do element analysis and stuff like that. POC is the best tool to find out what to improve. Okay. POC is the first focusing, the 5 focusing steps is identify the bottlenecks. So the first word value, there are 3 conditions we have seen in the value stream foundation course. The 3 conditions for value, I'll repeat those 3. I'm not going to ask you to type just to save the time. It should physically change the shape, size, or properties. Second is, it must be done right the first time. And the third one is, customer must be willing to pay for it. Okay, these are the 3 conditions for value. Rest of all, non-value adding activities. But essential non-value adding, we cannot do away with that. If we remove that, then we'll have greater non-value adding activities. Then we call it as value enabling activities that we have seen. In between stream is a very important word. In fact, if I were to rewrite this word, I would write value flow mapping because it's actually the flow. Okay, value flow mapping. So value stream mapping. Okay, so these 3 words, I hope you are clear. Now, let me dive a little deeper into this. What do you see moving on the screen? One is in opposite direction. That's what I wanted you to see. One is actually turning in the opposite direction. Now, if you see all the fishes, most except one, all the fishes are moving in the flow of the process, in the direction of the process flow, or where the raw material gets added value, it goes to the finished good, and one is going in the opposite direction. So the reason that I've shown this diagram is to fix in your mind with association of a fish to understand what is called as upstream and downstream. Upstream and downstream. So downstream is swimming along with the current of water. Swimming along with the current of water is downstream. Downstream is easier to, because it is flowing. If it is a rework, it will come upstream. go back, again correct it and come back again. Yeah. And what a pain it is to go back, right? Rework is a pain or not? Okay. So remember like this. For rework, you have to go upstream. Whereas if you just wanted to add value and go with the flow, it is going downstream. So what is value stream? Again, recapping whatever that we have discussed, all activities that are currently required to transform the raw materials and information into finished product or service. So there are so many activities that are happening. You have to transform the raw material into finished product or raw material into finished service. Now, if you see the flow here, in between there is a lot of waste. And the Japanese word for waste is muda, and money is wasted in this. And finally, we get a value after wasting some money. Yes or no? We will not. That's why we call yield loss, right? I'm just giving some example. Input to output ratio. What is that? Input to output ratio. What is the yield loss? What is the design loss? So, my question is rejection a scrap? Suppose if it is a rejection, defect. Is defect a scrap? Defect means it cannot be used. Now, there is if you think deeper, only the design waste is a scrap. All the other, though you put in scrap, it cannot be. So there are two types of things. One is a design waste, and the other is a, for example, if you're cutting a circle from a square, then the remaining portion is a design waste. But after cutting the circle diameter is smaller, it goes into scrap, then that's a non-design waste. Okay, so the point that I'm trying to say is whether it is designed or not designed, made this, there is a lot of waste in the system. Let me go slowly to the next one, the flow rule. What is the flow rule? In all business process, benefits are directly proportional to the speed of the flow of material and information. Benefits are directly, whether it is operations or transactional. If you're able to flow the material as fast as possible along with the information, because without information, material cannot flow. So information can also affect the flow. That's why the supporting functions are very, very important. People ask me, I'm in finance. I'm not a value adder. Is finance value adding people? Because they are not physically changing the form, fit, or function of a product. So the first condition itself is gone. Value enabling. So in Kaizen thinking, all of you please pay a little attention here. In Kaizen thinking, the next process is a customer. If finance have to pay suppliers and there is a vendor payment process, and if they don't pay the vendors on time, will it not affect the flow of material and information? So let's start thinking of flow in various functions also. And if you start thinking the next process of customer, then you can start the lean thinking in that direction. So the lean is applicable in all functions. Where there is work, there is a process. And where there is a process, there is a waste. And when there is a waste, the output of process will get affected. When one output is affected, it will affect the entire value chain. So if this is clear, please acknowledge that. Let's go to recap this 8 waste. So we use the acronym TIM Woods or downtime or whatever it is. D for defects, O for overproduction, W as in waiting, N as in not utilizing resources, T as in transportation, M as in motion, I as in inventory, E as an extra processing, whatever. So these are all different types of waste. Waste is nothing but that hinders the flow, and it doesn't satisfy these three conditions. And these three conditions are: it has to physically change the form, fit, or function. It has to be done right the first time, and the customer must be willing to pay for it.